ألف لام را تلك آيات الكتاب المبين
نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد قال الله تعالى في شان حبيبه إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the program Miftahul Quran. And of course you are tuned into ITV, and by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala we completed Surah Al-Anfal, that is the 8th chapter of the Quran, and now we begin with Surah Tawbah, that is the 9th chapter of the Quran. As you see, it is the 9th chapter of the Quran, and these series that are concerned with chapter 9 of the Quran, we call them H. We are going to do the H series. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Now we know in the Quran there are 114 chapters, and 113 chapters begin with Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Except chapter 9, this chapter that we are embarking on, that is Surah Tawbah, it does not begin with a Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Now the authorities give us two reasons, and one of the reasons they give us is that this chapter 9, Surah Tawbah, they argue that it could be a continuation of chapter 8, and therefore there is no need for a Bismillah, right? But nevertheless, it is numbered as Surah Tawbah, chapter 9, as we see here. It is called chapter 9 of the Quran, and at the same time, although it does not begin, and we know if you count all the Bismillah Rahman Rahim that are used in the Quran, and we see in chapter 27, the verse 30, where Allah is talking about the incident between Sulaiman, the Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salam, and the Queen of Sheba, Saba, the correspondence in that letter that Sulaiman wrote to the Queen of Sheba, he mentioned, Innahu min Sulaiman, surely it is from Sulaiman, that is the letter, wa innahu, surely it is Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. So we know for a fact that there are 114 Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim in the entire Quran, if you count the one that is here on this chapter 27, verse number 30. So we continue with this Surah At-Tawbah, and we know Bara'atum minallahi wa rasulihi ilal lazina ahadtum minal mushrikeen. Bara'atun, and immunity. Baratun means immunity, means you are absolving yourself, you are freeing yourself from something. Min, from, min is a preposition. Allahi, therefore Allah in the genitive case, min Allahi, wa, and Rasulihi, you find Rasulihi, that lam kasra, li means also a genitive case, Rasulihi, he is of course referring to his, to Allah, ila, towards, allazina, those whom, ahadtum, ahada, obviously this is a form 3 verb, ahada, yuahidu, it means to make an agreement, to make a solemn pledge, a covenant. Ahadtum, you had covenanted. Min, from among, and we know min, although it ends in a sukun, but if you have to continue and reading it, that, like for instance here we are going to journey to al-mushrikeen, therefore the min takes a fatha, al-mushrikeen, the associators, of course al is da. Now you see this word mushrik, it comes from, it is the noun, what you call the ism fa'il, from ashraka, yushriku, means to associate, is a fourth form verb, and this is actually a ism fa'il, the one who does that, ashraka, yushriku, to associate. Now why we say associators? Because you're not necessarily going to associate with the idols. There are so many forms of association. So Bara'atu min Allahi wa Rasulihi, a declaration of immunity from Allah and His Messenger. Meaning, now this is a very important background to understand this verse number 1 of, in fact, the very few beginning verses of Surah, what you call At-Tawbah, the 9th chapter of the Quran. The background is, and we know that Allah's Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he migrated, he made hijrat to Medina, which was originally called Yasrib, and after he had emigrated there was several battles, and in the 8th year, in the 8th year of the Hijri, right, the Mecca fell, Allah's Nabi and his Muslims, they conquered, they were victors, they marched into Mecca, but in the 9th year and 10th year, the Muslims went for Hajj. In the 9th year, Allah's Nabi was ill, he could not go for Hajj, but he appointed Sayyidina Umar Abu Bakr as Amirul Hajj, but in the 10th year, he himself went. But this declaration was given in the hands, right, responsibility to Hazrat Ali, that he must make a declaration to the kuffar. What was the declaration? Of immunity, that we are no more going to carry out the agreement that we have made. And there are several reasons for that which is going to unfold now. So this was in the 9th year of the Hijri, or some people will say 10th year, because the day that is called Al-Hajjul Akbar, the great Hajj. On that particular day, Hazrat Ali was given that responsibility of declaring that immunity, meaning that we are cancelling all agreement ila ahadtum, whatever we had made with the mushrikeens, right? Fasihu fil ardi arba'ata ashhurin, fasihu fi al ardi arba'ata ashhurin. So they were told. Fa is of course so or then. What is a sihu? Sihu means that to journey and to go about. Although the immunity is made, that the agreement is no more binding, but they were given a grace. They were given a grace, fasihu, that you could journey and organize yourself and settle yourself. Fasihu fil ardi, in the land, that is of course Ali is in the land. So it was free, right, provided they do not attack, they do not become what you call into trouble with the Muslims. So they were actually told, fasihu fil ardi, in the land, arba'ata, 4 is this arba'ata is in the accusative to show you the adverb of time, and we know that there are two uses of the accusative case. One, the accusative case shows you the object of a sentence, and the other use is that it also shows the adverb in a sentence, how, when, where and why an action has been taken place. So here we find arba'ata ashhurin, meaning that for 4 ashhur is a plural of shahr. Shahr, what is shahr? Like we see in the Quran, shahru Ramadan, the month of Ramadan, and the plural of shahr is ashhur. Ashhur meaning months. So here we know, for instance, what is the significance of 4 months? What do you mean by 4 months? You see, the 4 sacred months, if you read in the Quran in chapter 2 verse 194, right, there are 4 sacred months, and we know that these 4 sacred months are Rajab, Zulqa'dah, Zulhijjah and Rajab, right? And of course it's Rajab, Zulqa'dah, Zulhijjah and supposed to be Muharram, right? Muharram is the, I hope that is clear. It is not Rajab again, it is repeated here. So it is the 4 sacred months are Rajab, Zulqa'dah, Zulhijjah, but the 4 months that the announcement were made, the 4 months follow one another, because you cannot add Rajab to it, because Rajab is quite a distance. So when Sayyidina Ali did announce the 4 months, the 4 months to follow each other was the Shawwal, Zilqada, Zilhijjah and Muharram. Those were the 4 months where they were told that we have completely cancelled all agreements between you and us because you have been breaking them, but we are giving you a grace for 4 months from the month of Shawwal, Zilqada, Zilhijjah and Muharram. Fasihu fil ardi arba'at ashhurin. Then journey freely in the land for 4 months, and of course we shall go for a break. Just to remind you, you are watching ITV's program Miftahul Quran, and inshallah after the short break we shall continue.
ألف لام را تلك آيات الكتاب المبين ألف لام را تلك آيات الكتاب المبين.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the program Miftahul Quran. And as we announced earlier that we continue with the next chapter of the Quran, having completed Surah Al-Anfal. Now we continue with the 9th chapter, which is actually Surah At-Tawbah. Fasihu, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. What the Muslims have told from the Allah and His Rasul, the declaration was made by Sayyidina Ali, and they were given, they said, all agreements have been broken. Fasihu fil ardi arba'at ashhurin. They were given a grace that they could journey freely in the land for 4 months. Wa'alamu annakum ghayru mu'jizillah wa anna allaha mukhzil kafirin. That wa and i'lamu, alima ya'lamu means to know, to be aware, that they were told that be aware, that as a warning, annakum, anna is of course that. Note that it is not inna, it is that you, ghayru, not mu'jizi, from a'ja yu'ji, right, a'ja, right, yu'jiz, meaning to frustrate, right, mu'jiz, one who frustrate. So therefore we call frustrator. You are not a frustrator of Allah, that you cannot frustrate Allah. And you notice it is la, and that la means something else is to be added here. Wa and anna, that. Anna allaha, we know anna, any word that ends on a nun tashdid is govern the noun in the accused. Anna allaha mukhzi. Mukhzi, you see that khizyun, right, khizyun, mukhzi, one who humiliates, one who disgraces, right. Al-Kafirina, Al is of course the of the disbelievers and the rejectors of faith. So here Allah is telling us that wa'alamu annakum ghayra mu'jizillah, that you must know and know that you are not the frustrator of Allah, that you are giving the 4 months to them as grace. And this, as you said, is a background after the Fatha Makkah in the 8th year. Right, there was lots of agreement, what we call ahad, a solemn pledge were made, the covenants were made between the Muslims and Kuffar. But now they have been warned that all these treaties and agreements are broken because they, the Kuffar themselves, acted in a treacherous way and they broke all that. They were given 4 months grace, but here we are told, annakum ghayra mu'jizillah, you are not going to frustrate Allah, but that Allah is a humiliator of the unbelievers. Wa azanu min Allahi wa rasulihi ila nasi yawm al-hajj al-akbari. Wa azanun min Allahi wa rasulihi ila nasi yawm al-hajj al-akbari. Wa and azanun. What is azan? Right, azan. What is azan? Azan is, we know when the muazzin calls out azan, that is a proclamation. Now this, as I said, was a proclamation, right, mean from Allah, right, mean being a preposition, Allah in the genitive case, from Allah, wa and rasulihi, right, again that kasra here shows it is governed by the mean again, right, it is governed by the mean again, his messenger, ila, to, ila, nasi, to the people. Now what do you mean by the people? The entire Arab nation here is concerned. Yawma, Yawma is accusative to denote adverb of time, on the day, al-hajji, al of course is the, that is a genitive meaning of, al-hajjil akbari, you see, the great al-hajjil akbari. Notice, look at the concord between al-hajjil akbari, both the noun and the adjective, they are both in the genitive case, plus both begins with the al. So here we find that wa azanun min Allahi wa rasulihi ila nasi, and a proclamation. What do you mean by a proclamation? Where we find that, as I told earlier, that Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu was given the duty of proclaiming, and as from the state, from the newly conquered state, that is from people of Medina and the Muslims. It was done here at the time of the Hajj, and therefore this particular Hajj, whether it was 9th of Zil Hijjah, right, it was either the 9th or the 10th year of the Hijri, where Hazrat Ali made this great announcement, right, from on behalf of Allah and His Messenger on the day of the great Hajj. The great Hajj is called on the day of Arafat, when this announcement was made, Anna Allah bari'um minal mushrikina wa rasulahu. Anna Allah bari'um minal mushrikina wa rasuluhu. Anna, that. Allah, again you find Anna governs the noun in the accusative. Anna Allah, that Allah is bari'un. What do you mean by bari'un? Is free. Free. Barra'a, you like you find in the 13th chapter of the Quran. Wama ubarri'u nafsi, I do not free myself, I free to absolve myself in no responsibility. Is free, min, from or of, al-mushrikina, al means the mushrikeen, the associators. This is a special announcement that Hazrat Ali made. And you see that la means the incomplete sentence here, wa and rasuluhu. Now you notice this rasul is in the nominative case. Right, so let us see this sentence read, Anna Allah bari'um minal mushrikina wa rasuluhu. That Allah, you see Allah, Anna Allah bari'um minal mushrikina wa rasuluhu, showing that the Rasul is in a nominative case, that Rasul being in the nominative case here. You notice that it is also the subject of the sentence. So this sentence will read that Allah and His Messenger are free from the obligation of the associators. So if you read it word by word, you will read it that Allah, right, is free from the mushrikeen and His Messenger. But fortunately, we know we have to apply the rule of grammar, and that is also in the nominative. So we would say this, that Allah and His Messenger are free from the obligation of the associators. It's no more that the obligation to carry out the ahad, that the covenant that they made. فَإِن تُبْتُمْ فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَإِن تَوَلَّيْتُمْ فَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّكُمْ خَيْرُ مُعْجِزِي اللَّهِ. فَإِن تُبْتُمْ فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَإِن تَوَلَّيْتُمْ فَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّكُمْ خَيْرُ مُعْجِزِي اللَّهِ. So these people who had broken the various, what you call, covenants with the Muslims, they are told, فَإِن, then if, tubtum, you turn, in other words, you make tawbah, you turn in repentance. You turn in repentance to say we are sorry, or you show by action, by turning away from your bad habit. This is the meaning of tubtum. Fahuwa, then it is khairun, is best, lakum, for you. So in other words, there was no compulsion, there was no fighting, there was no unnecessary harm to the kuffar who had broken all these agreements. They were told very, very clearly that we're giving you a grace of 4 months, all obligation of the treaty is out, but if you behave yourself, it is best for you. Wa, and in tawallaytum, you turn away. In other words, you turn away, you go back to your habit of treachery and breaking the agreements. Fa'alamu, then know, then in other words, be warned, annakum, that you, khairu mu'jizi, you are not a frustrator, Allahi, That in other words, the kuffars have been told very, very clearly, that the mushrikins, that we are giving you a grace, that grace is applicable for 4 months, and if you turn away, if you turn in repentance, then it is good for you, but if you turn away, you go back to your bad habits, that you cannot frustrate Allah, of the will of Allah. وَبَشِّرِ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ وَبَشِّرِ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. So now what happened? These people who have been rejectors of the faith, they are told now as a warning, right, that if you do not behave yourself, and we are giving you the 4 months grace, and Bashir. No, look at this sarcasm here, right? This is give glad tidings from Bashara, Yubashiri. This is actually, what is this? This is command Bashir. Now because you have to join and read, that that sukun becomes a kasra there, Bashiri lazina, and give glad tidings to those kafaru, they have disbelieved. In other words, they have disbelieved, they have broken all the treaties, all the agreement and everything. Allah is telling them, give them glad tidings, bi azabin, right? B is of a chastisement, alim. Alim, obviously what alim means. Notice this alim is not with the ain, it is with an alif. With an alif it means painful, and with that ain it means Allah's, one of Allah's sifat, alim. So here Allah is giving a warning. And now we notice here there is a great concord between azab as a noun and alim as an adjective. Both are in a genitive case, both are masculine and both are singular. So this is what we notice, this is a great concord here. وَبَشِّرِ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ, and give glad tidings of a painful chastisement to those who do disbelieve. Now what we notice here is very, very important, that the background to this whole story is the fall of Makkah took place in the 8th year of the call, and during the 8th year of the call the Muslims were victorious. They conquered whole of Arabia, lay at their feet, but there was a lot of treachery on behalf of the Arab tribes. Now this is here Allah is saying bara'atum min, that the Muslims and Allah and His Messenger are completely oblivious, they are immune to any agreement they have made, and especially, and then Hazrat Ali was told there on the great, what we call the Hajj al-Akbar, to announce to the Arab tribes and to the Arab people, to the Annas, as said, that this is an immunity and we are giving you a grace of 4 months, and if you behave yourself, it's all right for you. If you do not behave yourself, and give glad tidings of a painful chastisement to those who disbelieve. And of course we have come to the end of this program, and from my side and Yusuf and Johnny here, hope you enjoyed today's program, but be informed that we have started chapter 9. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alif Lam Ra, tilka ayatul kitabil mubin, inna anzalnahu Qur'anan Arabiyyan la'allakum ta'qilun. Alif Lam